Okay. So remember before, earlier in the show, we were talking about Buffalo with the injury luck?
Yes.
How they had the least amount of games? Okay.
This is going to be the craziest stat.
Per Football Outsiders, which measures the amount of starts your starters on the week 1 depth chart missed throughout the season. No team in the last 2 decades has had worse injury luck than the Baltimore Ravens. Starters missed a combined 191 starts last season. The Ravens at one point were 8-3, top seed in the AFC. Then Lamar goes down. They're getting all those guys back. They are playing a 4th place schedule, which I love. Yeah. That's the difference between playing the Jaguars and playing the Colts on the road, potentially.
You're playing the Jets week 1 instead of the Bills.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Although they still play the Bills, but all right, bad example.
But that's basically the concept.
I assume they avoid the Chiefs.
Right.
They'll play the probably Broncos.
They'll play the Broncos.
Yeah, which you take that.
Tougher, but I would rather play that. So they're my favorite. They are the favorite to win the division. Mm-hmm. My main reason for being on the Ravens is, bro, is there an athlete in all of sports, but let's just stick in the NFL because I don't want to put you on the spot right now, that the goalposts get moved more than Lamar Jackson?
If we said all sports, I would have said Giannis. But for football,
But he's won, though, and he's been like MVP multiple times, and like...
Oh, wait, what do you mean by... Sorry, I don't think I understand your question.
No, so like Lamar Jackson, right? At first it was, well, he's not a quarterback. Then he becomes a starter, makes the playoffs, wins MVP.
I completely misinterpreted your question. I thought what you meant by his question was, is there a harder athlete to game plan for?
Oh, no.
That's what I interpreted
I meant like the media narrative.
I think people that go after Lamar Jackson... for the most part, lack credibility, and I just think they're reaching for clicks. I don't take their opinions seriously. I think Lamar Jackson, the only real critique of Lamar Jackson is he does have it's a well-known fact that 2-score games coming from behind, he hasn't been that successful. And look, it's hard for a lot of quarterbacks, but
that's what I was going to say too, right? Like,
and we know the Ravens have just, for whatever reason, they're just, their team, like similar to Green Bay, they don't invest a lot in the receiver position, and it just boggles my mind.
So, to me, they are going to get J.K. Dobbins back. This dude likely the tight end.
Oh my God, he's been the
shit.
preseason monster.
And you can see them doing some shit with him and Andrews, 2 tight ends on the field.
Well,
Lamar,
they do it often. They'll do. Remember, Nick Boyle's also there, so they'll do 3 tight ends.
Yeah, who was the other guy? Hayden Hurst for a little bit too.
That was a couple years ago.
Yeah, many years ago. Yeah. But Lamar was there also.
Yeah, they'll go 13 personnel, no problem.
But the biggest thing for me is the Ravens had this happen a couple years ago where Joe Flacco going into a contract year, bet on himself, ends up winning the Super Bowl. I'm not going to go that crazy, though I do like their odds 25-1. From a value standpoint, I love the Ravens. Mm-hmm. But, think about this with Lamar, right? Everybody that he's peered with, all his peers that he's grouped with, have all gotten paid except for him. Yeah. Kyler got the bag, and he's way more accomplished than Kyler. Deshaun Watson got the bag with all the shit that surrounds Deshaun Watson. And even Bishotti, the owner, comes out and goes, well, it made contract negotiations a lot harder when all this shit happened. Like, how do we agree on this number? And he was defending Lamar in the sense of, he's better than those guys. Right. And if these are the deals, we have to go back and negotiate things.
Because Ravens are very business savvy. Like, the Ravens are an organization where they'll sign an Eric Weddle or Earl Thomas. I know Earl Thomas didn't work out, but they'll sign Kevin Zeitler.
Calais Campbell.
Yeah, they're 30, 31 years old in their 3rd contract, but they're still good enough to make a difference.
And they get him cheap enough to outperform the contract.
It's brilliant.
Bro, what about Anquan Bolden when they got him, too?
That's another good one.
Wasn't he a big catalyst?
Yeah, I was talking about defense players, but that's a big... Oh, I did say Zeitler, but they're just a very savvy organization, and they're one of the organizations that work very privately. You don't get much inside info on them. That's why we haven't heard too much about the Lamar negotiation. That's why I was surprised some of the info is leaked out, because they keep their sources very tight-lipped. Yeah.
And also, they're one of the teams, when they draft a defensive player, you're like, oh, man, he's going to be this.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton. I'm excited about him. But I think signing Marcus Williams didn't get enough credit in New Orleans for being one of their main centerpieces. Cam Jordan, DeMario Davis got a lot of the headlines. But Marcus Williams was big.
You know what I think that was, man? That I still think people have the Stephon Diggs play in their head.
Yeah, it's so
And
long ago,
I
but
know,
yeah.
but it's just like one of those
Yeah.
things. Like that's what when I think of him,
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, he's a really good safety, but I think of that play.
Like, it's crazy that, like, P.J. Williams was the real liability, and that they had two Williamses, Marcus and P.J., and P.J. got, like, benched 3 times. I'm like, he's the liability, but in that spot, oh, man, poor Marcus Williams. But now he's in Baltimore. It's just, the Ravens, they make these kind of moves, and I just think getting Ronnie Stanley, to me, is probably the biggest return. I love J.K. Dobbins. Getting their franchise left tackle back, Ronnie Stanley, when healthy, one of the best in the league.
Is there anything else you want to add to the Ravens before we move on?
I think just if you want to look at their long-term outlook, we talked about the receivers, but I'm a little, I guess, from a coordinator standpoint, I definitely want to mention no more Wink Martindale.
Boy,
yeah,
we're blitzing and blitzing, baby.
So he was there for like, I want to say at least 6 years, if not longer. Like, he was there for a long time. So how do they adjust with that? And I get so frustrated with Greg Roman. Greg Roman's amazing at crafting a running game, so simplistic when it comes to passing games. So I think if the Ravens have a cap this year, it's just, I think Greg Roman is be the guy that will hold them back.
Can I defend the wide receiver room for a second? Even though I don't fully believe this, I just want to make a case for it.
Okay.
Could we give Bateman a chance?
Oh no, I'm excited about Bateman, but I want there's gonna be more. Right.
But I'm saying, like, he's their number one receiver right now, and then it's like Duvernay, who's a career special team guy.
Yeah, Wallace, who's like a 4th-round pick.
But he missed the start of the season last year, Bateman. So how much of his slow start and his career not really producing as high as you might have thought a first-round pick would be, with him coming out the gates a little injured?
I don't know who's not excited about Bateman. I just think you want more as a receiving corps.
That's a very fair assessment. Yeah.
Is it like Bateman, to me, what he showed, he just seemed very reliable. I'm not sure how he is going to be as a deep threat, but like across the middle of the field, he's physical and he can make those plays that, Ravens, they run a lot of RPOs. So quick little crosser, 12-yard dig, bang. So I think it fits nicely. And then, man, Mark Andrews. I don't think he could put up numbers he did last year because I think we all assume the Ravens are going to run they're going to get back to their roots. Like Mark Andrews isn't going to put up those numbers ever again, but he could still be just as good.
That's a scary team to play when they have the lead.
Yes.
When they can do what they love to do with the Lamar RPOs and him running and all these running backs that they put out there sometimes.
They'll suck the life out of you. Yeah.
That's a very scary team to game plan. But on the flip side is if you jump out on a lead with them, I think Lamar he's like 1-13 in games in which he trails by 10 or more.
And I think that one win was against the Chiefs on Sunday night where I had a couple of freak plays. If you remember that game, it was like a crazy. I think Edwards-Helaire had the bad fumble. So, yeah, that's like the one real knock you could have on Lamar to me.